one for you and I tried to give it to you. You're welcome.
Good evening, everybody. Delighted to call our meeting to order. It is 6 p.m. Mo. Mo, would you like to conduct a roll call?
Good evening, Commissioners. Commissioner Miller. Commissioner Reed. Commissioner Arcuri.
Here.
Commissioner Maya.
Here.
Commissioner Grabman.
Here.
Vice Chair Glazer.
Here.
Chair Houghton.
Here.
And we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Director Hastert, are there any changes to the agenda?
Thank you, Chair Houghton. We do have one change.
sorry about that. We do have one change to the agenda. There was one item, number 9 on consent, that should actually read the second amendment, but all else stays the same.
Thank you very much. Okay, notices, number 2, that on Friday, March 10, 2023, at 5 p.m., the Airport Commission Secretary, Mo Graham, duly posted this agenda on the bulletin board at the airport administration. I'd like to move to public comment. Those of you that may not be frequent flyers here from the public, we ask that you fill out a request to speak form. Okay, and this is for items that are not on the agenda, but definitely pertain to the airport. So I have 4 items. Are there any more forms to be filled out by the public? Okay. Mo, you'll run a timer in allowing each speaker to speak for up to 3 minutes. And this entire section should be completed within 30 minutes, which should not be an issue tonight. I'd like to first call Paul Bowen to speak, one of our former commissioners.
Good evening. I'm here not as a former airport commissioner, but as a board of directors member on Alpha Resource Center. And a week and a half ago, we had a fundraising event for the Alpha Resource Center. It was an airplane pull where teams competed to be the fastest to pull Alaska Airlines jet 20 feet. And I'm happy to say that the Santa Barbara Airport staff was the fastest and won the top prize. Our mayor, Randy Rouse, even helped pull one of the airplanes too, so we were glad to have him there, and hopefully we'll get more city staff coming out for these events. But on behalf of the Alpha Resource Center, I'd like to thank the Santa Barbara Airport and staff for their efforts to allow this to happen, and Atlantic Aviation, who made a major donation in giving us ramp space to have it, and Alaska Airlines that provided the airplane and a lot of other perks to help it make it go. We also had our Santa Barbara aviators were volunteers there and had a team and were pulling, and our flight school had a team and was pulling, and I'm probably not mentioning everybody that came out and supported us. So the good news is that the gross proceeds from the event are around $56K. So this was a good one. The money will be used to provide services for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities in the Santa Barbara area. Alpha is looking forward to doing this event again next year. It's a really good community event that I think puts our airport in a good light. You know, we can't make the jets any quieter, but if we can make the airport a better neighbor somehow, events like this are good. So thanks to everybody that made it possible.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it. I'd like to call up Sean Sullivan.
On Above All Aviation, the flight school here on the field. Back in 2016, we filed a informal complaint with the FAA in regards to economic discrimination. Imagine my surprise to find out there's still no fees for independent operators and flying clubs on this field 7 years later. So I just want to address that. I know they're working with it, but imagine my surprise after us moving into a facility that's, as folks know, is rather expensive to know that we're still competing against flying clubs and independent operators. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sullivan. Peter Ivory. Yes, it is. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Peter Ivory. I just want to recommend the following thought. And we don't have any flights right now that go to San Jose. There's a lot of tech in San Jose. And so here's my following thought. Actually, the best airline to make that flight would be Southwest. Southwest goes into San Jose, and then they have 27 routes from San Jose to someplace else. You know, it'd be nice to have Delta fly there, but Delta only has 5 routes from San Jose. So instead, here's the other second thought, is to have Delta fly, at least in the wintertime, to Salt Lake City. then all the local skiers could take an opportunity to fly to Salt Lake City. They would discover that Delta has a huge network out of Salt Lake City, and that might actually then stick in the future. So my thought was fly to San Jose. Southwest, we already have a relationship with them, and they might just buy into that. And then second place to Delta. If they want to fly into to San Jose, I'm good with that. But they may want to fly into Salt Lake in the wintertime. That's all I got. The rest of the time is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ivory. Okay. I'd like to call up Christina Wilburn. Is it?
Hi, my name is Christina Wilburn, and I wanted to just introduce myself. I'm the office manager with PG Trucking, and I've been working with Tony Haas on leasing the lot at 495 South Fairview with the hopes of opening a truck driving school. There is a shortage of truck drivers across the U.S., and there is not a local, or there's nowhere close in town for a truck driving school or for people to get their Class A commercial license. And so we're trying to tap into that market and bring this business to Santa Barbara. So just wanted
Thank
to
you
say
very
hi.
much. Last but not least, unless there's more speaker forms been forwarded to Mo, Donald DeLucci. DeLuccio. I didn't see the O.
Thank you. I'll be brief. Just want to introduce myself. I'm the newest planning commissioner, Donald DeLuccio, and I'm a liaison for the Airport Commission. And I tried to watch the last meeting. These meetings are televised, I assume? It was not on the, I couldn't find it when I went to view the meeting, just FYI. But I'm going to continue to watch the meetings, and if there's any planning issues that come about, I'm going to come here and advise you of them. And in the meantime, if you guys need anything, you let me know as well, okay? Thank you. And I want to acknowledge my council members here, Freeman, hi, Eric. And I do live in District 5, in your district. I live across from the municipal golf course on McCore Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're happy to have you here. Okay, Mo, if there are no more public comment cards, okay. We're going to move to liaison reports. I've also been joined by our Commissioner Reed, so welcome, in case you need to update the, okay, liaison reports. So we're fortunate to have both of our city council member liaisons. I'll start with Santa Barbara, Council Member Eric Friedman.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Great to be back. This will be quick. I just want to also acknowledge the Alpha Resource Center Plane Pool. It was a great event. I was able to show up, and there was a lot of people there. I think the second year it got a lot more. I think there was over 20 teams. I think it was 23, and so we might have to get a second plane next year. Airport had so many teams, but congratulations on winning. But just know I've been recruited by another team for next year. So. Friendly city competition next year. So on the actual reporting, I just have one thing to report on the consent calendar. This past Tuesday, the city council approved directing our city airport staff to work with you on a response to the city of Golitas and looking at technical information. And then once you've gone through that with our staff and the airport commission, you'll make recommendations to come back up to us and the full council to respond to the city of Goleta's letter regarding noise and other issues. So that'll be coming your way fairly soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Friedman. And City of Goleta, Councilmember James Carrico.
James Carriaco, City of Goleta. I'll be very brief because I had a pretty comprehensive report out last month for those of you who were here. We sent a letter in a very circuitous way to the City Council of the City of Santa Barbara, and my understanding is it's making its way back here. Next time we'll CC the airport staff as well. And that's really all I have to report tonight.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'd like to call on Director Hastert for the next section on the advisory group purview, communications, and conduct essentials.
Thank you, Chair Houghton. Joining us this evening, we have Sarah Gorman, the City Clerk Services Manager, and Graciela Reynoso, the Human Resources Manager, here to give a presentation on the purview, communication, and conduct for the commissions. And I'm lucky this is my second time seeing it. It's very riveting, and I hope you enjoy it.
Mr. Hazard believes in overpromising and underdelivering, I hear, at least in terms of this. Hi. Hello, friends. I'm Sarah Gorman. I'm the City Clerk Services Manager for the City of Santa Barbara. Sarah Gorman. I'm the City Clerk Services Manager for the City of Santa Barbara. And I am joined by seated and standing later Human Resources Manager, Graciela Reynoso. So, we are here with the Dog and Pony Show. We are coming to a number of City of Santa Barbara boards and commissions, all of the charter commissions, of course, you are one, and some of the other commissions to talk about a couple different topics. So, we're saying this to lots of people. I will speak, Graciela will speak, and we'll have an opportunity for questions and comments. So we're going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to talk about the roles of boards, commissions, and advisory groups. I did get a question at a previous seminar about what is the difference between those three things. Nothing. You have a fancy title in the city charter, but some are advisory groups, some are boards and commissions. It's all the same. We'll talk about communication. We'll talk about conduct and decorum, behaving professionally, warmly, evenly to people that are coming to speak to you, speaking with staff. Talk a little about the city's anti-harassment training. We have a half hour booked here. We'll probably speak for about 15, 20 minutes, and we'll have an opportunity for questions. So Chris Hastert is just lucky, I guess, for another opportunity. Mayor Rouse is not here. He is coming to some of the boards, but not to you guys. So I will speak in his tone. Speak quicker. So talking about the boards and commissions. The boards and commissions are vital to public entities. Santa Barbara really takes their boards and commissions quite seriously. I came from a city that had 4 boards and commissions, and then I came here on 40. Okay, we'll do that then. It's an important function, and we want to make sure that each board and commission is doing the right thing, that you are following your purview, that you're taking on the tasks that are entrusted to you in the city charter, not going beyond that, that you are processing information, processing projects, interacting with the public, interacting with airport staff in a professional manner that reflects well on the city. The city delegates advisory and decision-making authority to various boards and commissions. And each commission has a defined role, and you provide guidance within that particular role. You each have a very unformatted handout, which is just a copy and paste of your purview, your powers and duties from the commission. Okay, so you are each appointed members. You're representatives of the city. I think I saw each of you come and interview before council at some point. Good job. You did it. It's not that scary. It's a little scary, but you did it. As an appointed member, you are representative of the city. It can be intimidating to members of the public, members of the airport community, to come and speak to a commission. There's a dais. You have name tags. You have to stand at a podium. There's mics. We want to make sure that each of you are acting in a professional manner, treating everyone fairly, and acting as an appropriate representative of the city. The boards and commissions are also there to increase participation from various community interests. So we want to make sure that you are both encouraging and fair of members of the public that interact with you. You'll be engaging the community and providing advice and expertise in this area. And again, I'll keep hammering this, and this is the Mayor Rouse in me. It's important that you stay within the purview of what the Airport Commission is designated to do. And if you have any questions about whether something you are interested in taking on, or whether a conversation at a particular commission meeting is within your purview or not, check in with Mr. Hastert and he can advise. So as I'll keep saying repetitively, because I am the parent of a 12-year-old, be cool. We want you to be acting fair, professional, and decent to the people that come before you, to each other, to staff. And if you're saying this to a teenager, to your mother who loves you very much. You are expected, and you do, serve as leaders in civility and decorum. We want you to be welcoming of civil participation and engagement. You're going to have, and I know you have, a variety of people that interact with you as commissioners. You have people that have never come to an airport commission meeting before, and you have people that come every month. You guys aren't every week. And be, kind and decent and welcoming to all of them. Prepare in advance, read the packet, stick to the agenda. You do not want my Brown Act lecture. It has less jokes and more threats of participation from the DA. You absolutely do need to stick to the agenda that is in front of you. Be respectful of each other's time. And it goes both ways. If you feel like you have something important to add, absolutely say it at the commission meeting. Follow your procedure to be recognized by the chair and absolutely state your piece. That's why you are appointed. And conversely, let other people speak. If it feels like, I might be taking over the conversation too much, step back a little bit, read the room. And actually, before we hit Graciela, a couple other things I want to take some additional thoughts I haven't thrown on a slide yet. It is important that each of you, as current appointed commissioners, move issues forward. So if an issue has been decided, if consensus has been reached at a meeting, don't relitigate it at the next meeting. Decision has been made, move on. There is a lot of work that is facing this commission. There's a lot of work that's facing all the commissions, and it's really important to keep projects moving, keep staff recommendations to be considered, move forward if you feel it's appropriate, but keep things moving forward. Respect the work of your predecessors. Some of you are newer on the commission. Some of you have been on the commission for a while. If you are new on a commission, don't expect to start a project or remake decisions that were made before your time. Respect the work of the people who served before you, as you hope that the people that take over after you will respect your work. Last thing is to this point, when you are reviewing something in front of you, a project or a proposal, evaluate it for content. If you have personal feelings about a person presenting an item, put them aside and look at the merits of the item. Goodness knows this is the world's smallest town. When I moved here, that can't be true. And no, my dentist is my dad's law school friend's son, and so I have to go to this dentist for the rest of my life. And so many of those things happen in Santa Barbara, and I'm not even in the airport community. I can't even imagine how much there must be. This is the group, and maybe there's 5 more people. So put those previous thoughts aside and evaluate everybody fairly and evenly. Now, would you like to hear from HR? I can do that.
Good evening, everybody. As mentioned, my name is Graciela Reynoso, and I'm the Human Resources Manager. I'm here to just talk about some affirming statements that the city makes in trying to build and sustain a culture of respect for everybody associated with the city and everybody who represents the city. So in your presentation, you have a screenshot of our Excellence in Customer Service Code of Conduct. And that's one of the documents that we really point to the sort of culture that we want to embody, such as when we deal with customers who can be internal staff members, commission members, members of the public, or people the city does business with. We really appreciate being attentive and understanding and responsive, and I think fairness is kind of a theme that runs through our comments, being courteous and respectful, and knowledge and solution-oriented in engaging in the business that we engage in. So the Customer Service Excellence Code of Conduct is one document that we have. And there's also the organizational values that point to how we should be, our ideal way to conduct business, which as well speaks about courtesy and respect and fairness in building the culture at the City of Santa Barbara to conduct our business. So general reminders for code of conduct, and these are items that we also train staff on, which is to address the public and staff in a respectful and patient manner, treat others as you would like to be treated, so the golden rule, practice active and respectful listening. Have we heard a problem, for example, fully, and have we practiced active listening to try to understand what issue is before us? Monitor your tone of voice and your body language. Your demeanor goes a long way in how people feel welcomed or respected in interactions. And make a genuine effort to listen to divergent viewpoints, and it's okay to disagree without being disagreeable. So again, in general, you will hear from human resources organizations when we talk about culture and sustaining a culture of respect. So these are some key points that we like to kind of outline. As far as policy and establishing these expectations and also in enforcing some expectations, we have two key city documents that we point to. The first one is the non-discrimination and harassment policy. And this policy encompasses a lot of law having to do with anti-discriminatory behavior, which is often related to what we call protected categories. So protected categories or classes are things like characteristics of the person, such as age or gender identity, ethnicity, and that sort of characteristic. So it is illegal to discriminate or harass somebody based on those characteristics, and this is a policy that, and the resolution listed here, 93-134, both these documents protect staff and the public and vendors against this sort of behavior. And Sarah and I were talking, I think that this commission was trained a few years ago on this topic as well, for those of you who have been here a while. So it's something that we like to present because it is one of our guiding principles to, again, creating and sustaining that culture of participation and respect and value. And plus, it's also law. So when something is alleged to be violated, there is a review that the city is bound by law to conduct. So those are two key policies for us. Another thing that we like to train staff and other members in is about avoiding abusive conduct. So abusive conduct is what we sometimes call bullying, such as yelling or belittling, intimidating, using a condescending tone of voice, because the effects of bullying is kind of people separating from what's going on in the discourse and feeling bad about it, right? So we don't want to have our organizational culture support that type of activity. So we did want to address it. And abusive conduct can be illegal when it's tied to one of those protected categories that I discussed. So that's what we wanted to present today, as far as just some gentle reminders as to some of the topics that you read about in your orientation packet when you were appointed. And they of course come back just as gentle reminders today. So here's Sarah again.
Thank you.
I'm going to start all of my civility and decorum lectures by gentle reminder, everybody. No external rolling of your eyes at anyone speaking at you. I didn't used to roll my eyes, and then I got that 12-year-old girl, and now I almost did it at work the other day. It wasn't at council, but it was close enough. Like, no, Sarah, we don't roll our eyes. Talking a little bit about the role of the chair. So the chair sets the tone, the welcoming tone to staff and to the public. Chair is responsible for the order of and conducting the meeting in a fair and efficient manner. This goes to the chair, but is also important for all of you. The chair can call a short recess to have everybody essentially chill out. So that can be a really useful technique. Sometimes we do it in council, sometimes it's done in other boards. And we're not talking about, a heated civil debate on the dais, but if things are getting a little out of control in the audience, or it's just becoming untenable and it feels like it's not going to be professional, the chair can say, okay, we're going to take 10 minutes. At 6:45, we'll come back at 6:55. Gives people a chance to step out, get some water, walk around a little bit, reconvene, and do that. So that's something the chair can call it. Staff can certainly suggest it. It's a good idea if staff think that's a good idea. Can raise it. And other members of the board could suggest it as well. So it's just in terms of kind of crowd control and making sure that everything is moving efficiently. Just something to keep in mind, keep in your back pocket. And here's your calm, pretty sunset picture. So we want you folks to be conducting yourself as a representative of the city, being courteous and welcoming of others' opinion. Be nice, be decent, be fair. And we thank you for your service. What questions do you have for HR or me? Mm-hmm.
So, thank you for the question. I'm still getting up to speed on everything that the commission handles, but I do believe that, yes, the city council has, through ordinance, authorized the commission to look at our rates, because we will be bringing that back to you shortly. I know one of the public members had a question about some of the fees that we do or don't have, and so you will actually see a little bit about that at the next meeting. I will, as I need to learn these things as well, I will get a full list and help the whole commission to understand all of the different things that have been passed down from the commission from the council for the commission to look at.
Thank you, appreciate it. Having raised 5 teenagers, if you'd like a PhD in eye rolling, you can see me afterwards.
Oh, no, thank you. But I appreciate the offer.
4 of which are girls. Just no.
No, I have one. Any other questions? All right. Thank you all so much, and truly thank you for your service.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gorman and Renee. So appreciate it very much.
It's better the second time.
Okay, we're going to move on. I'd like to call on Director Hastert for his airport director report.
Thank you, Chair Houghton and commission members. Just a few quick things. Mr. Bowman already mentioned the plane pull. It was a very fun event, so I know there was a lot of people in the audience here that were there. I wasn't going to say too much about it being on the winning team, and there's a lot of target on my back. But I will just say that I was on 2 teams. I was on the City Hall team, and I practiced, and then we did much better on the airport team. So a great event. I'd also like to thank Lauren, who helped with Angie to get that all set up, and just did an amazing job and got us on the front page of the paper, and it was a fun event. You might notice that there's some missing information in the packet tonight related to the financials. That was because one of the airlines did not get us their information in time. We do have that information now, so you'll be getting double information next month. It was related to a change in staff. We have a new station manager. That station manager has now been in and understands what needs to be submitted, and that has been corrected, so I apologize for not having that in today's packet. Thank you, Councilmember Friedman, for mentioning the Goleta letter. That was on my list, so you will see some information coming out about that, and looking for some of your technical information on noise, so I look forward to working with you next month. On the City Council's agenda for next week is our South Side project. So we have bids that were received, and we're looking to move forward with the South Side project, which will put in 3 more remain overnight spaces for the airlines, as well as some rental car parking, and relocate Hangar 5. So if you have any questions about that, I'm happy to talk to you about that individually. And then as the city council approves that, provide a lot more information on scheduling and timing and all of that. You may have noticed on the south side of the airport, adjacent to Above All Aviation, that several of the port-to-port hangars have been removed. I am the last person to want to stand here in front of you until the airport hangars have been removed. There's a shortage of them, a lot of airplanes that need indoor space. Unfortunately, these hangars were not in the state to be able to be repaired. So we're happy to move forward and looking to hopefully have some tie downs there with Above All in the future, and at some point build some more hangars somewhere on the airport. Next month, there will be a master plan update going to the Planning Commission, to the City Council, and to the Airport Commission. So it's going to be a busy month for Sarah and her team. So we're going to get a lot of information. Along with that is the airport forecasts. So this has to do with our operations and enplanements, number of passengers. We have draft forecasts that are actually out now. They're on our website, also published with the News Press and the Montecito Journal. So if you want to take a look at that and provide any feedback, at the master plan update would be the appropriate time to bring up any of those questions, or you can email or contact us if you have any questions. And that's all I have for the director's report.
Thank you, Director Hastert. Any questions from my fellow commissioners?
Yes, Director Hastert, refresh my recollection. Which one is Hangar 5?
So Hangar 5 is the large hangar that is just south of the terminal.
One of the old wooden.
Correct.
So we're relocating that?
It's
or
being relocated. I
Is
don't
that
know
it?
the exact location that it's going to, but it's somewhere local.
That old wooden, no kidding.
Yes.
Were we originally going to demolish that?
I don't know the history, and I don't have Sarah here to answer that. I think the understanding was always looking for reuse of facilities that can be reused. I think there was probably doubt that that was salvageable, but they found a partner in the community to make that happen.
That wouldn't be Seth by any chance, would it?
I'm not familiar with Seth, so.
Probably not. Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions from commissioners? Okay. Mo, do you have any additional public speaker cards? Okay, we will move on to the consent calendar. Always my favorite part of the agenda. And as you may recall from last month, we no longer have to read the entire agenda to the group. What we ask for is if the commissioners have any questions or seek clarification on any of the consent calendar items. And if there is a discussion request, what we will do is pull that particular consent item off of the agenda and we'll address it individually. Okay, Commissioner Glazer.
Just out of curiosity, obviously the drop that we're seeing in passengers in January is seasonal for the most part, but are you seeing anything else, hearing more about airlines struggling a little bit in the last 30, 60 days? Earnings have not been as high, United in particular. Are there any concerns about the industry and what's going on?
So specifically for Santa Barbara, we are not seeing a major change. The one portion of the change in January was the closure that we had with the floods. So we missed out on quite a few passengers with that closure. In fact, in our meetings with the airlines, you'll notice on the Southwest schedule, they added another Denver flight. So things are still looking good as far as our airline service here. I will be meeting with several airlines. Those spoke about here in public comment, as well as others next week at an air service conference. We have, I think, at least 9 meetings set up with airlines, and happy to give a better report at the next commission meeting with kind of inside information on how well things are doing or not.
Thank you very much.
Commissioners? Commissioner Maya?
Oh, were there more questions?
Commissioner Maya?
Yeah, I just have a question about, there was a flip-flop here with jet fuel sales from one FBO to the other. Any guesses as to why that happened, or maybe you know why that happened?
I do not. I actually noticed the same exact flip-flop, and so I have some guesses. Maybe it was an airline contract switched over or something like that, but that was definitely one of the items that I was going to follow up with the FBOs because it was very noticeable, as you mentioned.
Cool, thanks.
Commissioner Miller, did you have a question? So that wraps up the discussion from the commissioners on the consent items. Mo, do you have any additional speaker requests from the public? I do not. Okay. Well, under those considerations, I'm going to ask for a motion for approval of the consent calendar.
So moved.
Commissioner Glazer has moved, and I call for a second. Commissioner Reed seconds. We'll then move to full vote of the commission. All in favor? Any opposed? So, all in favor?
Aye.
It appears to be unanimous. Did you vote, Commissioner Curry?
I did.
All right, good. Okay, so Mo, for the record, the consent calendar has been approved unanimously. Okay, I'm calling on Director Hastert once again on administrative reports.
Thank you, Chair Houghton. I would like to ask Lauren Gonzalez, our marketing coordinator, to introduce the next speakers. A little presentation on our advertising and partnership program. A tough act to follow after Sarah in her presentation, but I'm sure they'll do well.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Lauren Gonzalez. I'm the new marketing coordinator working with Angie in the marketing division. She's currently traveling for a conference, so she can't be here tonight, but that leaves me the pleasure to introduce our partners at Fuse Advancement. We've been working with Scott and Alex at Fuse for over the past year, and they've really helped us take our in-terminal advertising and partnership program to the next level. They've gone beyond the traditional transactional form of just selling advertising space and have really focused on building partnerships with a variety of organizations and businesses within our community. So I've only been here a couple months, but they've already been really wonderful partners to work with. And they've really taken the time to understand our airport and our needs and our goals. So I think you'll be impressed by their presentation tonight. So I'd like to invite up Scott Jacobson and Alex Garfio from Fuse Advancement. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for having us. We appreciate the commission as well as the staff of the airport for having Alex and I here tonight. This is a special airport for us. As you'll kind of hear from both of us, we have roots in the area while we are based in Los Angeles, California. I did my undergraduate at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. When I graduated from Cal Poly, my first job was for my fraternity, and the first place they sent me was Isla Vista, where I lived for a few months. Since we are taping, we won't talk about that experience, but it kind of just, got me really loving the Central Coast. Alex will share with you, but he actually grew up in the area. So for us, this was a little bit of a homecoming when we got to together with the airport to decide to work together. And so it's been a wonderful experience. As you can see, Alex and I work with Ontario International Airport, obviously Santa Barbara Airport, and then Charles Schultz Sonoma County Airport, as well as a few other universities. But these are our three core airports. Just a quick background on us, not to go too far into it, but I think it gives sort of insight into who we are. We both came from the higher education background. So we both worked in higher ed for 15 years at USC, working in sponsorships, partnerships, and fundraising. So kind of our tutelage in the space was relationships. How do you build relationships? How do you build bridges and not be transactional in nature? So that kind of gave us these pillars from what we kind of operate from. We really believe that at the core of everything are relationships and how you build those. A lot of times in kind of traditional airport advertising space, it can be very transactional. For X amount of dollars, you get a spot for this amount of seconds on a loop, and it's kind of this churn and churn. And it doesn't really go deeper than that. And so Alex and I really believe that in order to get the most out of a program, you want to have boots on the ground. You want to get to know the region. You want to talk to the companies, the brands that reflect the space, so that your passengers, when they're flying through, they recognize that brand. They say, that's where I stay when I'm in town, or, that's the car dealership that I bought my car from. And so there's also a sense of pride that comes from a program like that, not just some national brands that maybe you don't have any connection with. So the relationships are really key to everything we do. The second piece is really an innovation. So again, rather than being so transactional with kind of, just putting up static signs, putting up digital, that stuff is extremely important, and we'll get into in the numbers why that's important. But how can you do different things? How can you get activations in your terminal? How can you take space? We're going to talk a little bit about some cool things we've done with Kevin Costner and audio here at the airport. Some things that might be outside of just your traditional advertising, but really creates innovation and creates a sense of connection with your passengers, your travelers, and brands now in the space are really looking for that sense of place. They're looking to connect with people more than just putting up a sign. And then the third pillar, as I kind of mentioned, is local. Making sure that your advertising program is roots are in the region, with maybe some traditional, more national brands layered on as well. But, that's kind of who we are. And I think if you see throughout our presentation, that'll be kind of underpinning like everything we talk about. Alex is going to kind of get into a little bit about the brands we're working with, kind of some of the highlights over the last year. And then I'll kind of get into the stuff you like, the revenue that's come in, and some of the next steps and things we're going to be working on.
Thank you all for having us. Really appreciate it. As Scott mentioned, I now live in Los Angeles in traffic land, but I do have roots here in Santa Barbara. My mom actually went to UCSB, so I grew up in family housing right on campus. And then my dad actually worked a block away at a company called Maripro, which was on airport property. So I spent a lot of time here at the Elephant Bar with the family, and it's really literally fresh of breath air every time we drive up the coast to visit Santa Barbara. So it's been a pleasure, and we appreciate you all for having us. As you can see, here are a short list of some of our current airport partners. It's not all encompassing. We have a few others that we haven't put up there. To add to what Scott was mentioning, we really see an airport as a gateway to a community. So when someone flies in to Santa Barbara Airport, we really want to see the best of the region highlighted in creative and innovative ways, as he mentioned. So just to highlight a few of our partners here, we recently signed a long-term agreement with Santa Barbara City College, as Scott mentioned, BRIC. And what we really did, our commitment to the airport when we first came on, was to really meet face-to-face with every single one of our partners. So over the last 7-8 months, we've met with every single person face-to-face. Some of them obviously had to be via Zoom, but most of them have been in person. And through that process, we really got to understand their goals and their aspirations and what they're looking for from a partnership with the airport. So, for instance, with Santa Barbara City College, obviously enrollment's a big concern. So we came up with a creative package to where they can really get some visibility out there for prospective students. And just a high-level overview of some of the things we've achieved in the first few months. Through the process of actually meeting with people and talking and understanding their goals, we've been able to essentially double the revenue in the first few months. Our goal is to increase that significantly over the next few years, but we are on track to double it in the first year. As we mentioned, we think that partnerships are at the key of everything we do. So we really work on establishing longer-term partnerships. We think it works better for consistency, for relationship building, and then also for innovation and creativity. So when, for instance, Santa Barbara City College, if they have a graduation or parents' weekend, we can put up something on the spot, like a welcome message to parents or congratulations to the class of 2023 from the airport. So we can really come up with really creative ideas with longer-term partnerships. Traditional advertising is usually 4-week runs, and you really can't do any of that innovative stuff. As Scott mentioned, 21 of the 23 partners are here in Santa Barbara, and the other 2 are just a few miles away outside of the city. So really the core of our program is local. We have, again, visited the region on average 2 to 3 times a month, and we plan on continuing that for the duration of our partnership. When we came in, we really did a gap assessment of where the program was at the moment. Essentially, the former concessionaire, when their contract ended, they did not renew. So we really had to start from scratch. So Scott and I came came and conducted in-depth interviews with the staff. We met with local partners and really understood, really tried to find what the needs were for the specific program. And then from there, we redeveloped the entire program from contracts, invoices. We set up a new back-end system, and we, as you can, if you've had a chance to fly through the airport recently, we implemented new digital boards throughout the terminal as well, and we manage those remotely. So if a advertising partner has new content, we can do that with the push of a button remotely. Beforehand, the airport staff had to go and put USB sticks manually every time a new advertiser had to go up. So that was a big win for the airport. And just a few of our key partnership goals. If you've had a chance to fly through the airport recently, we partnered with a local brewery called Made West out of Ventura. They've never advertised before. This is their first advertisement, and they really wanted to think outside the box. So we saw some of the artwork they had at their breweries and with some of their cans, and we came up with a cool advertising mural in the terminal that was kind of creative, innovative, added a cool, like, Instagrammable moment in the terminal. So that was posted on Instagram, and it was, at the time, it was the highest Instagram post for the airport at that moment. And lastly, Scott mentioned we partnered with Audio and Kevin Costner. Audio is a travel app based here in Santa Barbara. Really cool concept. Essentially, you download it, and as you drive, you get notifications about really innovative or creative, cool stories as you're driving. So as you go up the Central Coast, Kevin Costner tells you a story about the region. So we partnered with them, and we kind of thought outside the box. So Kevin Costner actually recorded a message welcoming passengers to Santa Barbara Airport. We're working on getting that up, hopefully in the next few months. We also, the Audio also created a story on Santa Barbara Airport, in addition to putting some advertising up on the boards. With that, I'll pass it along to Scott.
Yeah, so we've talked kind of all the good feeling stuff, but what does that mean for revenue? And this slide I think is important. Really when we talk to all the airports we work with, this really validates the decision that the commission made to kind of reimagine the advertising and in-terminal partnerships. And so we hope this kind of shows you that you've made a really good decision to kind of reimagine that. So it's been less than a year, but as you can see, under the previous concessionaire, they were doing about $100,000 a year. We have, in less than a year, more than doubled that. And we believe, based on some more investments that we're going to make in terminal, as well as just the energy that we're seeing from the advertisers and people getting excited about the program, that we're going to continue to grow that over the next few years. So we see this as like a really great thing for the airport. I think Jonathan was at a previous meeting talking about how there's been additional revenue coming in from this. And so, this is really, again, a validation of the decision that you all made to kind of reimagine this space. So we're doing well, and we're trending in a really good direction. The other piece of that that's really unique about what we're doing, in addition to just bringing in more revenue, and you won't see this in a traditional advertising partnership contract, maybe with another concessionaire in an airport, is that when we met with the airport, what they explained to us is revenue is important, obviously, but just as important is what are we doing with the community? How are we working with local nonprofits? How are we making sure that the airport can provide a landscape for some of our nonprofits and our local partners to take place? So we actually spend a lot of time working on quote unquote non-revenue programs for the airport, things that provide value for the community, provide a space for Stearns Wharf to advertise, their festival coming up, or Fest Forum, as people are coming into town for the forum, obviously Fiesta Days, which was kind of already happening with the airport, but some of these other things. You'll see YouthWell as part of Mental Health Awareness Month. We worked with YouthWell, local nonprofit, to make sure that we gave them some space on the digital to provide some information for passengers about Mental Health Awareness Month. So we're doing our part to make sure that we provide space for the local nonprofits to be able to participate in the program. In addition to the airport, under the previous concessionaire, the airport actually paid to put up messages on the digital boards. we don't charge Chris in the airport to do that. So we want to be good partners. We want to get them, allow them to have their messages up as well. We've been doing a digital investment, which is going to continue. Phase one, as Alex mentioned, so you all are familiar with the airport. You probably remember that up in the concourse area, there was those 55-inch kind of home screen televisions that were hanging, that a lot of them were sort of faded, which again, you had to put a USB stick in to change out the advertising. So we came in, we put in 75-inch commercial-grade LED screens. They're better for energy. They last longer. They're actually better for privacy and protection. The old ones, technically, someone could mess with them pretty easily and maybe put up something the airport would want. So these are more privacy protected. And so we furnished those throughout the concourse area. You can see that there's a phase two that we're working with the airport right now. We're currently working with the team to work on sort of prepping the space, but we're going to be replacing some the escalator digital. There's kind of that one screen. Again, it's kind of an old monitor that's kind of fading, and you have to do a USB stick. So we want to get that changed out, and then potentially in the baggage claim carousel area, adding a couple new LED screens. The other kind of big thing is just networking the whole terminal again. So as Alex said, we can put up content in real time. An advertiser sends us a message. Within a few minutes, we can have it playing on the digital. That also allows us to really get creative with some of our partners. So for instance, UC Santa Barbara, Go Gauchos, have a huge game tomorrow. They're in Denver. We could be able to put a welcome message back to the team when they land saying congratulations from the Santa Barbara airport. So we can do things like that, and we can do that in real time. So we're excited about the next phase of the digital. That's going to allow us to bring in more revenue, and also, again, just to up-level the experience for the passengers in the terminal. I will also say that one thing that you should know about the staff, which is tremendous, and they obviously are doing this, a reflection of you all, is that they really care about the aesthetics of the terminal, making sure that we're not coming in and putting in stuff that would take away from the nice architecture, from how great the terminal is. And so, we don't want this to be something where there's stuff splashed everywhere, it's loud, it's screaming. And so we are very careful, always sitting with the airport, to look at space and say, hey, does this make sense? Does this make sense for what people would like? Does it take away from the ambiance? So that's a really important tenet, and we're committed to that. So that's kind of it. I mean, we're just excited to be here. We hope this is a long-term partnership. We're excited. We think that, again, the revenue is the trajectory is awesome. We think the passenger experience has been wonderful. The staff has been great, and we're just excited to be here and share really the great work that you all did to reimagine your program, and it's paying off. So happy to entertain any questions you all might have.
Commissioners, any questions for Scott and Alex on our advertising campaign? Or clarifications? Commissioner Maya?
Yeah, I was noticed when this contract was approved a few months ago. I was interested because I hadn't heard of your company before, so I asked the acting airport director then for a little bit more information. So I'm grateful to be able to meet you both in person, and I'm impressed by the presentation that you guys gave today. Is the company, how many people work in your organization, and how do you manage to a pretty large footprint, especially given the LA traffic?
Yeah, for sure. We're excited. So it was kind of funny. We decided to break away and start our own company in March of 2020. Perfect timing, right? And our first airport client was Ontario International Airport, 6 million annual passengers. They were same thing. They were moving on from a concessionaire, wanting to reimagine. And so, Alex and I started there, and then, here. And so we've, in really a couple years, have started to grow. And we have a few contracts that we're negotiating right now with a few other airports. And so it's been a really interesting journey for us in a short amount of time. We're excited. We think that the market is validating the sense that there might be something different out there that we've tapped into. But Alex and I, we've hired another full-time person. We also have, we've kind of adapted and really tapped into this whole idea of the gig economy. We have 2 or 3 other people that work for us part-time that are like experts in their field. So we have someone that does all of our branding and marketing that, has other clients as well, but they help us with all that. We have someone who worked in the tech space who's helped with all of our CRM and back-end system. So we're kind of slowly staffing up, but really also tapping into a handful of other people that have expertise in certain areas and really think that that's kind of the future anyway. And so we've been able to, with the 3 current partners we have, and looking at the future growth, we're still able to commit to that, 3 to 4 times a month being here in person, and that's something that's important to our company to continue to do that.
Well, congratulations on starting a business in a challenging time.
Yeah, thank you.
And appreciate you guys coming up and giving us a little more insight into your operation.
I appreciate the question. Thank you.
Any additional questions or comments from commissioners? I'll make a comment.
Yeah.
I really was impressed with the Made West advertising.
Cool.
I'm just curious if any of our other local breweries had any comments.
Yeah, they're like, we want to go next. So it's creating healthy competition is good. But we actually, even some of those other local breweries, we've actually met face to face and have really great relationships with and talked about kind of what we're trying to do. And I think the great thing is that hopefully Made West is a long-term partner, but if for some reason they weren't, we think we have a few others that would hop into the space very quickly.
At least a dozen.
Yeah.
And the other comment is I've had the pleasure of flying through Albuquerque and Jackson Hole airports in the last 3 or 4 months, and I'm amazed at the popularity of shirts for sale with their airport symbols, APQ and JAC. Would we be working with Fuse to have such a program, or is this something just independents can do?
I am wearing the SBA socks right now, see?
That is something that we would have to work with our concessionaire in the terminal, but I like the way you think because I enjoy that type of thing as well.
Yes, we're all. Yes.
Sorry, I don't have a microphone, so if you could repeat the question for the recording. I'm just wondering if you've had any meetings or interactions with Visit Santa Barbara, who does our larger marketing, and what your relationship is with them.
So Councilmember Friedman has asked if Fuse has had any interactions with our Visit Santa Barbara organization.
Yeah, great question. So yeah, actually our last visit up, we had a really good face-to-face meeting. Angie from the airport joined us. And so we sat with Visit Santa Barbara and laid out the whole vision for the plan and the program and space. And we're actually talking to them right now about some spaces in the airport that they potentially want to be on. So we've been going back and forth and working with the staff and Angie and Chris to kind of keep that relationship because we know how important it is. So yes, we are in communication with them, and I think you'll see some stuff from them up in the airport hopefully soon.
If I might add to that, I think that Visit Santa Barbara was taken aback a little bit because we have some Ventura County things that are in there, and they kind of missed out on a couple of the early opportunities. I don't know how well it was communicated with them, what all we had planned for the terminal. And so now that they see what's going on, they definitely want to be more of a part of it, and we definitely want to work with them.
I also think, too, just to add, I think it's a great testament to the airport that we are getting interest from brands in Ventura and up the coast. I think it's actually a great comment about where this airport is headed, that, while we're based in Santa Barbara, 21 of our 23 brands, I think it's a great thing that you have interest outside in that catchment area. It's a positive thing.
Well, yes, and it's so important to remember that our catchment basis population is 750,000 people.
Yeah.
Essentially southern San Luis Obispo County to Camarillo. So it's there's quite a few innovative companies there that may have an interest.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. Any additional comments, questions from the commissioners? All right. Mo, any comments or speaker request cards? I don't have any cards. Okay. All right. Pretty much that's a wrap. I want to thank Scott and Alex for driving up and giving a nice presentation. We're very impressed with your good work. Thank you very much. And if we do not have any more discussion requests on the presentation, I'm going to call this a wrap at 7 p.m. So thank you very much, everybody.